I couldn't believe what I was seeing, a giant metal gate across the only road to my own cabin. That's how my nightmare with the HOA started. What was supposed to be a quiet escape into the woods turned into a legal war that ended with me controlling the very lifeline of the neighborhood. Let me start from the beginning. 4 years, I worked 60-hour weeks in a busy city. My only dream was to own a little slice of nature. Eventually, I found it, a secluded cabin deep in the mountains. It sat next to a crystal-clear stream, surrounded by pine trees. There was only one narrow road leading up to it. I bought the cabin fair and square. The road, though, was technically an easement that ran through a nearby subdivision run by an HOA. My real estate agent assured me it was all legal and that nobody ever caused trouble about it. Boy, was he wrong. The first few months were peaceful. I'd drive up on weekends, hike, fish, and enjoy the quiet. Then one Friday, as I turned off the main highway, my headlights caught something shiny. A brand new steel gate blocked the only access road to my cabin. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe construction. But a big sign on the gate read, "Private property, HOA members only." I called the number listed. A stern woman named Karen, yes, really, picked up. "This road is for HOA residents only," she said. "You don't belong here." I explained my cabin was at the end of the road, and I had legal access. "Well, our board voted to restrict access," she snapped. "If you want to come through, you'll have to pay our annual dues, $3,000. I was stunned. I wasn't a member of their HOA. My property wasn't even in their subdivision. They were basically extorting me. The next morning, I drove up again, hoping the gate was open. It wasn't. This time, a man in an orange vest, one of their security volunteers, waved me down. "You can park down here and walk in," he said smugly. "Or pay the dues like everyone else." Walk in. My cabin was 2 miles up the road. I had groceries, tools, and fuel. I couldn't just hike everything in. I told him my deed granted me an easement, legal access to the road. He just shrugged. "Take it up with the board." I tried to reason with them, sent emails, and even offered to pay a small maintenance fee. They ignored me. For 3 weeks, I had to leave my truck parked to the highway and carry supplies by hand. Then one day, I came back to find a notice posted on my cabin door, "Trespassing may result in arrest." That's when I knew this wasn't just a disagreement. This was war. I called a lawyer. He confirmed what I suspected. The HOA had no right to block my access. My deed clearly stated I had a permanent easement across their road. We sent a cease and desist letter. The HOA replied with their own letter full of legal jargon, claiming the easement was expired. It wasn't. They were bluffing. My lawyer said we could sue, but lawsuits take time and money. Meanwhile, I still couldn't drive to my own property. I was furious, but I also knew anger wouldn't win. I had to think smarter. I went to the county clerk's office to pull every document on file about that road. That's when I found something interesting. The only road into the HOA's neighborhood wasn't actually owned by them. It crossed a narrow strip of land, about 30 feet wide, that the original developer had left in his name. And that strip? It had been sold at a tax auction 2 years earlier. I followed the paper trail. The new owner? Some shell company that hadn't paid taxes since. Meaning the land was going up for auction again. I couldn't believe my luck. If I bought that strip of land, I'd control the only road into the entire HOA. I attended the county auction quietly. Nobody from the HOA even showed up. They probably didn't know. For $7,500, less than what the HOA had demanded in dues, I became the legal owner of the only access point into their subdivision. The deed gave me full control. Anyone using that land technically needed my permission. I didn't slam a gate down immediately. I'm not petty. But I did send a letter to the HOA, effective immediately. Use of the access strip requires my written consent. Blocking my easement is a violation of county law. I expect the gate to be removed within 10 days. Their response? Silence. So I played my next card. On day 11, I hired a construction crew. We showed up at dawn with fencing, posts, and a brand new gate. By lunchtime, the only road into the HOA's neighborhood was blocked, except for one lane, which I left open for emergency vehicles. I posted a sign, "Private road, access by permit only." That afternoon, my phone exploded with calls from HOA board members. "You can't do this," Karen screeched. "You're trapping our residents." I calmly explained that their neighborhood had no legal right to cross my property without an easement, and they had destroyed their own goodwill when they blocked me. "You have 72 hours to remove your gate and restore my access," I said, "or your road stays closed indefinitely." Within hours, angry residents started showing up at the gate. Some didn't even know their HOA had blocked me. They just wanted to get home. The local news picked up the story, "Homeowner blocks HOA road after dispute." The HOA board tried to paint me as a villain, but the documents were public. The news showed that they had illegally blocked my cabin first. Under pressure from their own residents, the HOA called an emergency meeting. By the next day, they voted unanimously to remove their gate and apologize. I met with them in person. Karen wouldn't look me in the eye. "We're willing to restore your access," one board member mumbled. "We'd also like permission for our residents to continue using the road." I agreed, on my terms. I drafted a simple agreement. The HOA would pay me a fair maintenance fee for the strip I owned. They would never again restrict my access. Any disputes would go to mediation, not court. They signed immediately. Within 24 hours, my cabin was accessible again, and the HOA had to pay me monthly for their own road. Life at my cabin returned to normal. On weekends, I sat on my porch, sipping coffee while deer wandered by. But now I also received a small check every month from the HOA, basically paying me to use their own road. Funny enough, some of the residents started waving at me as they drove by. A few even apologized for what the board had done. Karen resigned from the HOA board a few months later. Rumor had it she moved away. This whole ordeal taught me something important. Know your property rights. Don't let bullies push you around, even if they're an HOA. And sometimes, patience and research beat anger. I never wanted a fight. I just wanted peace at my cabin. But when pushed, I found a legal way to stand up for myself, and in the end, the HOA had to play by my rules. Don't assume an HOA can do whatever it wants. Always read your deed and check public records. The law might be on your side more than you think. And if someone tries to block your access unfairly, stay calm, gather facts, and find the legal leverage you need. I didn't break any laws. I didn't retaliate with vandalism or threats. I used the system they tried to weaponize against me, and came out on top. So next time you hear about an HOA overstepping, remember this story. Sometimes, the quiet cabin owner at the end of the road turns out to be the one holding all the keys.